Hello! It's on your right! Hello! Blue! Are you stupid?
See that? I don't want that happening to you. So for the next couple of minutes, you and I are going to sit down. We're going to go through the two most common aspect ratios, which is 16:9 and 4:3 inside of Counter-Strike 2. I'm going to show you some in-game examples of the pros and the cons, and then I'm going to help you pick which one is going to be the best for you. All right, so before we start jumping into some specific Counter-Strike examples, let's just take a moment to understand what exactly the difference between 16:9 and 4:3 is, and what your monitor is actually doing when you switch from one to the other. So what you're looking at somewhere in the center of your screen, not sure where I'm going to be putting myself, but somewhere in the center of your screen there, you're going to be looking at a blank monitor with a native resolution of 16:9 or 1920 by 1080. Now you're seeing a full screen image displayed on that monitor of some 3D shapes, which I'm going to use to try and demonstrate to you the difference between these two resolutions. That's really simple and really easy to understand if you've never seen anything like this before. So all you're doing when you switch to 4:3 is you're cropping the size of the image, most notably the left and the right hand side. You're reducing the total number of pixels in that image, and then you're stretching that back out again to refit the entire display. This is what causes the models and objects to appear larger than they might actually be when you run in 4:3. Now in the image, the shapes are appearing to be physically larger and more stretched out than they were originally. This is because we have condensed the size of the image down a little bit on the top, but most notably on the sides. And then we've told our display that we want to still fill the same amount of space. So we've stretched it back out to the original size, which has forced the pixels to appear larger so that they can fill the same amount of space. Okay, so now we're in game, let's compare some footage. You can see here that in 16:9 on Dust 2, I can clearly see A long, short, and mid, but on 4:3, I can only see A long. Next, we're gonna move on to A site ancient. Playing behind the box, you can clearly see the advantage of a wider FOV in both of these two really common scenarios. Finally, Mirage, straight away you can see right here, the player tucked away in the corner isn't even visible in 4:3. So we slowly walk through the map following the blue line on the floor. So we can see here that there are some really common positions, most notably sandwich and stairs, that you are still going to see if you're in 4:3, but the delay in when you're going to see it is significant, and that's going to make a massive difference to how you need to clear the site and also your ability to take fights. So if I can show you guys in 2 minutes why 4:3 is strictly worse than 16:9 objectively, and the only upside at best is a placebo, then why do most players, and more importantly pro players, still choose to run their game in 4:3? Just take a look at these graphs. It's not even close. I mean, these pros are battling it out for every single tiny little advantage that they can get. But still, despite that, arguably the 4 best players in the world, definitely the current 2 best players in the world, Donk and Zywoo, they swear by using 4:3. You've also got Monacy, you've got Nico, the list goes on and on. I could not possibly sit here and name every single pro that plays on 4:3. These are all the best players in the world. They're the ones that are performing at the best, biggest Counter-Strike lands consistently year on year, and majority of them are choosing to use 4:3 resolution. But that's not saying that 16:9 doesn't have its fans in the pro scene. There are some really heavy hitters that swear by it. You've got Rops, you've got Twists, you've got your Kinder, you've got Exertion from Mouse, but to be fair, they're few and far between, right? This is not a popular resolution, which can be really, really baffling for people that watch a video like this, where we can clearly so easily see the difference and the benefits of having wider FOV. But when we break it all down, we get a really, really simple answer. The reality is these guys have played a lot of Counter-Strike. Monacy has spent roughly 12.3% of his entire life in this game. Donk, he's not far behind, and you got to remember he's a fair bit younger than Monacy as well. He only just turned 18. He's sitting at just under 10% of every minute of his life has been spent playing Counter-Strike. That's not even taking into consideration the fact that they need to eat, the fact that they need to sleep, the fact that they need to walk around, the fact that they need to do homework, the fact that they need to do things to just survive so that they can play Counter-Strike. These guys have been playing 4:3 for between 15 and 25,000 hours There's no need for them to fix what isn't broke. They are so used to playing the game in the way that they play it that it would be completely counterintuitive for them at the top level of the game, where every single day of practice, every single day that you make a change to your setup, that might be a month, a week, however long it takes for you to get back into that rhythm, for you to get back to the level you were, it's just not worth it. But that's Donk, Monacy, Zywoo, Nico, right? These guys, they're not the standard for when we talk about the average pro player, and they're absolutely not the standard when we talk about the average player that is probably going to be watching this video and the average player that you and I are going to go up against, right? So even outside of the pro scene, 4x3 is way more popular than 16x9. So I think the first reason is majority of people, or a lot of people, are just in a very similar situation to Donk and Monacy. They've been playing games their entire life, maybe not always Counter-Strike, but always some kind of games on the computer, and 4x3 is just what they're used to. They don't want to change, and that's totally fair enough. That's exactly the same boat that I'm in. I play on 4x3, 1280 by 960, and I love it. I feel really uncomfortable playing on anything else, but that's because for my entire childhood, I played Quake, and then for majority of my young adult life, until I was up to about 23 or so, I played nothing but Team Fortress 2, right? And I played both of those games in 4x3. By the time I got to Team Fortress 2, I could have played in 1920 by 1080 because I had the computer to support it, but I just didn't. It's what I was used to. And now that I'm in Counter-Strike, I've tried playing the game in 16x9. I just can't do it. I think it feels better in 4x3. I acknowledge the disadvantages that it gives me every single game, but I still prefer to play that way because it's just the way that makes me feel most comfortable. The second reason is the fact that the pros all use 4x3, right, as we already discussed. And a lot of people are going to look at what the pros are doing and they're going to go, hey, I don't really have a preference. I don't really have any knowledge on the topic. If it's good enough for the pros, if it's good enough for Donk, if it's good enough for Nico, if it's good enough for Monacy, then it's probably good enough for me as well. Then there's, I think, the smaller category of people nowadays that use 4x3 for performance reasons. Totally respect the fact that not everyone has a really beefy computer, but in this day and age, most people are getting to the point with their PC builds and even their laptop builds that they can run a game like Counter-Strike at 1920 by 1080 and still get the frame rate that they're after. Majority of systems nowadays are going to be able to push at least 60 FPS, right? But majority of them are going to be able to push significantly more than that. And because of that, I think that we are seeing a very, very rapid decline in the amount of people casually that are using 4x3, and significantly more people turning to 16x9 and even higher resolutions than that as well. We've seen a lot of 16x10, and we've also seen some other more upscaled ones as well. All right, let's wrap this up. I'm going to keep it really, really simple for you guys. If you are currently playing on 16x9, I see no reason at all why you should want to experiment with 4x3. I don't see a single scenario where it's going to help you become a better player, and I think you are better off sticking with 16x9. If you're currently playing in 4x3 and you're really comfortable and you don't see a need to make any adjustments, feel free to stay on 4x3. I'm going to be staying on 4x3 myself. However, if you're sitting there going, maybe it is time for me to give 16x9 a try, absolutely do it. Do it for a couple of weeks and just decide for yourself which one you prefer. You might be like me, give it a try, and then you go back to 4x3. And if you're sitting there as someone that is really new to Counter-Strike and you're not sure which one that you should start with, you don't have any preference or prior bias, just play in 16x9. There's no reason for you to be playing in 4x3. In my opinion, it is a strict downgrade. I think that everything that it gives you is a placebo. I think that everything that it gives you is slightly cope, and the only reason that it's so popular is because the pro players and old people like me that have been playing games for a long time, we just don't like change. The final thing that I want to touch on is your resolution is not the thing that's holding you back from becoming a better player. I see this all the time with people wanting to change their resolution, people wanting to change their sensitivity, their weapon, POV, their every single setting that you could possibly imagine. People think that it's going to make them better. It won't. If you're sitting there as someone that's 10,000 prem rank and you want to get to 15k, or you're 15k and you want to get to 20, or maybe you're face at level 7, you want to get to 8, maybe you're face at level 3 and you want to get to face at level 9. The things that are going to get you there is not finding your perfect res. You need to find something that you're comfortable with. You need to set it. You need to forget it. You need to never think about it again. The things that are going to get you there is a strict and structured practice routine that you can execute every single day or whenever you get online, doing a good solid warm up for 10 to 15 minutes before you actually play, having strong mental, and actually playing the game with the intention of getting better. It's something that I don't see people talking about too often. You cannot load into a game, whether you're warmed up, whether you're practiced, whatever, whether you're playing Face It, whether you're playing Prem, whether you're playing competitive, whatever it is, and just sit there and mindlessly play the game. You need to be consciously thinking about what you're doing, thinking about ways that you can improve. When you die, you need to take a step back and think, okay, what did I do there? They probably weren't cheating. It's probably not your teammates' fault. 9 times out of 10, you were outplayed and you could have done something better. So just keep that in mind when you're trying to improve. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this has been helpful. Leave a comment below what resolution you're using, especially if you're using something that's not one of the 2 standard resolutions that we've spoken about. If you're someone that uses 16:10, if you're someone that does 4:3 black bars, if you've got other weird, wacky resolutions. I've seen so many, it's just insane. Really appreciate you guys for watching. Subscribe if you enjoyed, like, comment, all that good stuff, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.